Hi, I'm Deanna Durgon, and you're watching Around Town. Now imagine what it would be like to be alone, pregnant, and have no resources. Well, today on Around Town, we're going to be talking to a very important organization right here in the city of Orange, and they help women. It's called Casa Teresa. They are going to have a large fundraiser at the Irvine Hyatt Hotel, and that's going to be on January 30th. And we're going to find out a little bit about that event, and then we're going to find out about the organization itself. So stay with us.
Dallas, and I'm here with my sister Deanna, and today we're talking about Casa Teresa, which is a nonprofit organization that helps pregnant women with temporary housing and ongoing support. They have counseling programs and educational programs, and they help women to make informed choices about themselves and their babies.
And tonight in the studio we have Executive Director Stacy Proctor and Program Director Dr. Jim Pugh. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy, now tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with Casa Teresa.
Well, I've been in nonprofits for quite a number of years, and realized early on that I really wanted to be in smaller grassroots nonprofits where you're really hands-on, you're involved in the lives of the people that you're impacting. And when I learned that Casa Teresa was in a search for executive director, fortunately I knew someone that was involved, and they said, this is the perfect place for you. And they were
excellent.
Right.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about the beginnings of Casa Teresa and how long it's been there, and how did it end up in Old Town Orange?
Well, Casa Teresa was founded in 1976 by Neil and Sally Sullivan. And the way they formed it is they really saw a need. You know, there was a lot of effort at the time that they founded it a lot of push for, avoiding abortion, and I think that's when it really started to kick up. And so they're looking at this, that they're helping these women to save their babies, but there's no one to help save the mothers. Because, they may choose to mother their babies, but then how do they learn how to do that? And so they just had enough foresight to establish Casa Teresa so that there was a home for these women to go to, and then there were services to support them as they went through the whole process of their pregnancy, and helping them to learn what they need to do to be a good parent.
That's like really wonderful. Now, it's a non-denominational.
It is, and Casa Teresa, the reason the name is Casa Teresa is it's not necessarily because of the Catholic religion and Sister Teresa. It's more of what Sister Teresa stood for, helping the homeless and the most needy, and that's what we do.
Wow, that's great. That's really great.
And I think one of the biggest problems with the whole issue of pregnancies and unwanted pregnancies is if a woman decides she wants to keep her baby, how does she go about having a life and providing for the child and having a family? So I think that's an important point. If we say, please keep your baby, or we think it's a great choice for you, we have to provide those resources as well. We noticed that there's quite a few quotes from Mother Teresa. Am I correct on your website? Is the name Casa Teresa associated somehow with her in terms of the homeless? Is there any other specific things that Mother Teresa did that rings true with the vision of Casa Teresa?
I'm sure when the founders were putting everything together, it probably had a huge impact on it. But really it does come back to more of what Mother Teresa stood for, which was the homeless and the most needy, and helping them. And so that's really what we live and breathe and do every single day with these women. The other thing, which I didn't mention, is we also offer an adoption program. So women who choose to give their babies up, they still go through all the same programs that our women who are keeping their babies, because obviously we want them to make healthy choices for themselves and for their futures. So there are options for our women.
How do people normally find find out about you guys?
Well, we get referrals from all over the country, from
all over the country.
churches, social services, probation, police, referrals from other past residents. So it comes in from all directions.
So if you get a referral from someone, are they immediately placed with you? Do they have to go through some sort of evaluation or a process?
If the person's out of state, our case manager will actually call them and do a social history, a psych history, to try to find out what their goals and objectives are. And if it's an immediate situation, we'll fly them out here or get them out the best way we can, as quick as possible.
Wow,
that fit the profile.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was more local, but you guys are, people come
Actually,
from everywhere.
National resource for women.
Wow.
That's amazing. I'm surprised,
yeah.
in fact, that there aren't more resources like you around the country. You must be fairly well known then in those circles.
I think the reputation that we have is at a very high level because we've been around a long time, and trial and error, of course, are factors. But the concept of what we do program-wise, I think, makes a real big difference. The model that we develop, we feel is really unique. So we're excited about that.
And then, so once these women seek you out, then are there any special requirements that you accept them in the program?
Well, of course, proof of pregnancy.
Right.
And every mom has to have a TB test. And then in the initial interview, phone interview or direct interview, we're not really equipped to deal with the heavy psychiatric issues.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So moms who are going through drug programs, we will interview moms in jail. We go to the jails and interview them. So the process is to try to get that history and see if we're what they need and vice versa.
Right.
Is there a lot of group interaction? I imagine you have to evaluate an incoming person in terms of the people that are already there and how compatible they are.
Right.
So is there those type of requirements in the evaluation and then group interaction?
That's a great question.
In your program?
We look at the makeup of the moms as far as personality-wise and what their needs are. And if we have a mom that we feel that doesn't fit with the population as far as what their needs are, we'll have a referral to another agency or another program that we think will meet their needs at the time. So we have to look at the balance of the program.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once they're there and they're in the program, what kind of programs? We read that you have 3 different kinds of programs. Tell us a little bit about the programs.
Well, program 1 is our parenting program. As soon as they go through the interview process and qualify, they will enter that program. So a mom can have 10 days and verify the pregnancy and come in very early in the pregnancy. Then again, some moms don't find us till later on in the pregnancy and come in at month number 6 or 7. So they stay in the parenting program through the delivery, and then 2 months after their delivery, they stay into the parenting house.
Right.
And then program number 2 is our transition program, and that is a 6-month program. But in order to qualify for that program, you have to be in good standing with the program for as chores, responsibility, working, volunteering, or going to school. And then I do a complete psychiatric evaluation of them. And then we have a panel. And on the panel are residents, staff members, and then sometimes we have other people outside. Board members will sit in on the panel as well. And it's a very stressful situation for the mom, very intense. It's a clinical setting. And then we ask questions after I do the psych history and talk about the psych testing to the panel. And then the mom comes in and we ask a significant amount of questions, and depending on how they perform there, if they do well, then they go to transition 1, which is the 6-month program.
And then they have to therefore prove that they are responsible in that evaluation process, keeping a job. I heard you say some chores and different things that are assigned during their stay there at the beginning. Is that correct?
Yeah, many responsibilities about the house and the evaluation process. Some of the moms have to work on their own personal issues, so that's part of the requirement.
Right.
Right. So you need to see what kind of progress, how committed they are to making progress in some of those areas.
Most of our moms come into the program with in tremendous pain.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the issues of abuse, domestic violence, drugs.
And this is all age groups, all of
18
women.
and over.
18 and older.
18 and over.
Right. So they have to be sort of, in a sense, committed to their own recovery
Right.
and building on their own recovery a life for their child if they decide to keep their child.
Our first step is to develop that sense of trust.
Well, yeah, if they come with certain issues, they have to realize what they are in order to provide a good home for their child so they don't pass those issues on, I imagine.
It's about empowering them with a sense of self. And once they have that, then we have a pediatric nurse on staff all the time. We have a medical model. I take care of the psychological part, and the nurse takes care of the medical part. So we're on call 24/7. So one of the things about trust is being available for them.
Right.
So that is a real unique part of our program that we're fortunate to be able to offer.
Now, the transitional program, once they get into that, what's involved with that?
In transition number 1, which is a smaller housing, 6 moms and babies, and in that particular program, they're really weaning into independency. And they have to be out so many hours of the day, whether searching for a job, in school, working, and or volunteering. And the baby, we have an infant center that's tied into our program, where the babies can go to the infant center, and those moms are out producing and preparing to become even more independent. And they stay in that program for 6 months.
6 months. And then what's the next program?
If they do well in that program, then we have an apartment building next door that houses 6 moms, and they can stay there for a year.
Wow.
Wonderful.
And that's real independency.
So, and you help them with the education that they're required to take? Do they go here to like a local school, or do you have, tutoring or vocational education?
Well, we're real excited about that. We have an educational person on campus.
Oh, excellent.
And one of the goals is that every mom will have a high school diploma when they leave the program. So we have tutors that work with the moms. So that's a really crucial part of the program. We have had a lot of success preparing them for GEDs and diplomas.
Oh, that's excellent. And then you have like nutritionists come in and teach them about, their own nutrition and then the proper nutrition for their infants and babies, right?
Correct. And
Yeah.
we have one mother who's in the graduate program here at Chapman.
Oh.
Fabulous.
Oh, that's excellent.
We're excited.
Excellent.
What's your maximum amount of
Capacity. Yeah.
For Casa Teresa?
Well, we have room for 30 women. And so it fluctuates depending on the level of program that they're in, whether it's parenting, transition 1 or transition 2. But we always try to make room.
Right.
Sometimes we wonder how we're going to do it because there'll be a lot of, in July we had 8 babies at one time in parenting, and typically we have 4 or 5. So our concerns were going forward, will we have enough room in transition for all these moms? But it just always seems to work out.
And then does the facility, it's like all little apartments, and then there's like a kitchen where they take turn learning how to cook? Or?
Each building's is unique. The parenting building houses the most women.
Right.
All of the rooms are double occupancy except for the mom and baby rooms. And then every room has its own kitchen and bath, so they're responsible for making their own meals with the exception of the nutrition classes. But then the nutrition classes are held in our nutrition center, which is a beautiful kitchen that has everything all of us would love to have in their own. But so, I mean, they are responsible for taking care of themselves, but we just give them the tools
Right.
to do that. And I also have to mention, we are very